can get to safety, can get resupply. So it's clear that the Syrian army is not going to give them any room for maneuver around there. They would see that as a threat. So perhaps that's why the clashes were there today. Why is there gunfire that we've seen on videos coming from Homs today? Again, that's hard to tell, and it does indicate just how fragile the situation is. And what the UN is demanding is that the Syrians pull back these heavy forces and military personnel from the city centres to their barracks. I think what the national newspaper has highlighted there, the possibility of radicals undermining any kind of ceasefire, we heard is a possibility. We heard from a jihadist group yesterday, one that claimed responsibility for a major suicide bombing that killed more than a dozen Syrian soldiers in Damascus earlier on in this year. This jihadist group saying, no ceasefire, let's ramp up the fight. So at best...
After such fanfare, failure. This North Korean rocket is now in pieces in the Yellow Sea, an international embarrassment to its new leader, and cause for concern that the Korean peninsula just became a more dangerous place. A Defense Ministry spokesman told reporters an additional missile launch and nuclear test is highly probable, and for internal political reasons, a military provocation is also likely. Pyongyang shelled South Korea's Yongpyong Island a year and a half ago, perceived at the time as a way to show Kim Jong-un as a strong leader in waiting.
Arthur Pulitzer-Prize-winning columnist for the New York Times. Welcome.
Good to be here.
We'll talk about North Korea and Iran in a moment, but first, you watch American politics pretty closely. How do you size up what this is and what it says about the campaign and the way American politics work?
Well, Charlie, it strikes me this is our latest example of false indignation of, oh my God, what did Hillary Rosen say today about women? I think what you're seeing here, it's not that there was an important point, but when you have a close race like this, that is so close. You need every vote, particularly if you're in Romney's case, 19 points behind on women. You're going to seize on anything. I think everyone knows the point Hillary Rosen was trying to make, but this was a chance to jump on it, use it as a wedge issue, get some more votes. It's going to be like this, I think, every day.
You see this as both an important race, but also a close race.
It's hugely important, but it's the way it's being fought now. Both guys are looking for 50.00001% to win. Nobody's going big here. This is going to be about these little issues, unfortunately.
Let me turn to North Korea. So what does North Korea do now, first of all? And secondly, is the United States forced to simply deny the food and aid?
North Korea, how long are they going to go with this gig, Charlie? This is looking for dignity in all the wrong places. Looking for dignity by trying to build a nuclear, delivery system. And look what happens. The thing lands up in the ocean, At some point, they've got to stop this blackmail, I'm going to hold my breath till you turn blue. Guess what? We're not going to turn blue. You're going to turn blue. Your people are starving. All right? So how long is this gig going to go on? We're in the third generation of Kim Jong, whoever. And I think they're the
grandson of the founder.
Right. It's just at some point, you just hope that there'll be an internal discussion there where they grow up, knock it off, and start relating to the world and their own people in a realistic way.
مشهد لا تخطئه العين في كل أنحاء تيمبكتو هذه الأيام. رحيل جماعي للسكان أفرادا وعائلات، بل ومجموعات عرقية كاملة يغادرون مواطن الأجداد في هذه المدينة التاريخية. هو جزء من عملية نزوح كبيرة بدأت مطلع العام الحالي بلجوء عشرات الآلاف من المواطنين الطوارق إلى الحدود الموريتانية والجزائرية والنيجرية، هربا من المعارك التي دارت بين المقاتلين الطوارق والجيش المالي.
السودان أكد أنه مستمر في حشد قواته لاستعادة المنطقة، وأعلن مندوبه الدائم لدى الأمم المتحدة أن الخرطوم مستعدة لتسوية جميع النزاعات مع الجنوب من خلال المفاوضات، لكنه وصف التطورات الأخيرة بأنها طعنة في الظهر أضاعت الثقة وأفشلت الجهود.
Sarkozy is in trouble for a series of complex reasons. I think part of it is Sarkozy has never really been that popular in France. He's not seen as very French. He is seen as a kind of oddball. He was often called during his first campaign the American. It was a a moniker he embraced because he thought it showed that he was different and he was a change agent. Well, I think the French liked that to a certain extent, but not as much as perhaps he thought. Sarkozy's great hope, of course, has been that the recent horrific anti-Semitic violence in France has in some ways rebounded to his credit. And that because he's able to be seen credibly as tough on law and order, tough on the support and defense of France's Jews, tough on some of these immigrant communities, that will translate into higher approval ratings.
يلا يا احمد حسن، يلا عميد، يلا عميد، يلعبها على طول تاني لاحمد المحمدي. احمد 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 احمد، هوبا 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 هوبا، هو جول، هوبا الثالث الثالث الثالث، احمد حسن مكي، الثالث الثالث الثالث.
And fans from across North America lined the bleachers for the premiere of the newly remastered musical film that made Liza Minnelli a star and an Oscar winner as the kickoff to the Turner Classic Movie Channel's annual film festival.
Life is a cabaret, old chum.
Joining Minnelli was co-star Joel Grey, himself a supporting Oscar winner in 1973 for playing the enigmatic MC of Berlin's Kit Kat Club. Directed by dance maestro Bob Fosse in 1972, the film version of the Broadway play won a total of 8 Oscars, but all but disappeared in the years since its release and was almost lost for good.
Imagine 192 of them. Now imagine all those lasers focused on a tiny capsule no bigger than a BB.
Man, it's Star Trek and Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. This isn't a movie set. It's one of the most ambitious science experiments in history. 3.5 billion of your tax dollars at work. It's called the National Ignition Facility, or NIF, part of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California. Inside that little capsule is a bead of frozen hydrogen. The lasers blast the hydrogen atoms so hard they merge, a reaction that releases enormous amounts of energy.